defensive backs. And so when you saw that, they were sort of picking on the middle of the field a little bit, which
with our little linebackers or like tiny
Kiko Alonso, I mean, he's the size of me,
150 pounds right now.
A little bit smaller, but I thought that the positives that I took away from the game, obviously they lost. They gave up they didn't give up, but they gave up the lead. They relinquished the lead late in the fourth quarter. Obviously, I think there was
4 minutes left.
There was 35 seconds left when we finally got the ball.
Yeah, they scored with like seconds left or something.
Right. No, we had the lead at 2 minutes with 8 seconds.
Right. Well,
that was when the Doug Baldwin pass happened. It was right before the 2-minute warning.
Okay. We can agree or disagree because I have it written down. It was like 40-something seconds. But anyways.
No, but I'm not talking about the touchdown pass. I'm talking about the 22-yard pass that got him on I think it was fourth. It wasn't a fourth down play, but whatever. Go ahead.
Okay. So, but usually what ends up happening is, so you see a Dolphins team with 30 seconds left and they're down. It's just like game over. Philbin's going to run the ball into the back of the line and time's going to expire or whatever. And, they at least tried. They kept on going, and you saw a fight, like the drive where we actually took the lead. It was like something that you don't see out of the Dolphins. Them come from behind in the fourth quarter and, take over a game on the road in one of the hardest places to play.
Tannehill ran that ball in.
The way that they ran their offense on that final drive, or the next to last drive where they scored the touchdown, that's the offense I was expecting. Kind of high pace. Tannehill get rid of the ball fast. He got sacked 5 times.
Right.
So he's still holding on to the ball too long. And I thought with Adam Gase, they were going to spread the ball, get rid of it fast. And that's what they did on that touchdown drive where, they went fast, which is what we thought they were going to do the whole game. It took them till the fourth quarter to do that. So hopefully
that carries over.
It carries over to next week, and they kind of try to push the ball, because that's what they do have, is they have Jarvis Landry, who you get him to the ball real quick, and it's an extension of the running game. Get him the ball real quick, let him get out in space.
Sure.
And that's...
But we've seen a lot of that. They were
stagnant. They were just... Most of the game, they were so stagnant. Tannehill wouldn't get rid of the ball. And I saw that Arian Foster averaged 3.3, less than 4 yards a carry on 13 carries. He had like 38 yards. So they're not really running the ball well. They need to get the ball out of the backfield, get it out to the sides, let Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills. I mean, I know they threw too many screen passes probably, but
and that's where I was going to get at, because we've seen Jarvis. That's how he plays. I mean, it's, how can I say this? The deep threat for Miami was on the bench, which is Devontae Parker. I mean, that's really
what is his deal? I mean, Adam Gase doesn't like him.
No,
there's something going on there.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of controversy going into the weekend. I mean, J.J. didn't make the trip either, and it wasn't because of anything physical. It was just kind of
other than his physical poutiness or whatever it was.
Right, he was just a big baby about not being, not getting the starting job, expecting that he was going to get the starting job, and
if you saw the snaps played by the different running backs, it was basically like Arian Foster got half of the snaps set back, and then everybody else, the platoon that we had coming out there with Williams and then whoever the other guy was, like they played the other half. So I'm pretty sure that J.J. would have seen a decent share of snaps had he been there, had he not,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, let's be honest. Okay, Arian Foster's an older back. Okay, he's been riddled through injury. He's not going to last 16 games.
And he has catastrophic injuries. Like, he doesn't sprain his ankle. He tears a ligament off of his hip.
Torn Achilles, ACLs, whatever, this, that. I mean, it's just been...
So, hey, Jay, calm down a little bit. Maybe wait a few weeks, and you might have your starting job back. But instead...
For sure.
Yeah,
Which is...
Whatever. I don't want to slander him too much. I don't know him personally. So.
On the other side of the ball, the defense, I mean, they only scored 12 points. I'm looking at the stats here. They had 112 yards rushing, 240 yards passing. I don't really know. I mean, did we have turnovers?
There wasn't a lot of turnovers. What ended up happening was there was
they held the ball for 35 minutes.
Yes.
So they ran the ball 32 times, and their average is only 3.5. So I guess that's where the game was them just pounding us for 3 yards.
Right, and that's what they kept on doing is pound, 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 and then, a penalty or something like pound, pound, pound. There was a lot of between the 20s going on, like back and forth with them controlling the most of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was nobody was dominant on either side of the ball offensively in any sort of, category. And the way that it was, the reason why it took so long, instead of them just pounding or whatever, is that Russell Wilson was 27 to 43. That's the most pass attempts that he's ever had in a game in his whole entire career. You know what I mean? So it's like that's not what they wanted to do. They
applied real good pressure on him.
Yeah,
that was the one.
We had 3 sacks ourselves.
Yeah,
I mean, the consensus of Dolphins fans that I have spoken with since Sunday have been more optimistic like you guys. I've kind of been the pessimist, which I'm not usually, and
it's funny because, I'm the optimist saying that this is Gase's first year, let's let it, we're going to have growing pains. We'll be good.
Yeah,
and you're the pessimist and you're like 9 wins in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, his debut definitely got screwed up, man. It just got taken away from him. I think, it was Russell Wilson actually is his 19th fourth quarter comeback. Fun fact. You got a veteran guy on the other side. Not that Ryan Tannehill hasn't been in that offense. Well, it's a different offense now. But, again, he's been the leader of the team. I think he took leadership on that last drive that they scored on, especially with that run. So, I guess there are some good things to take away.
No, yeah, I liked it. I thought we competed. It was a good team that we battled with for 60 minutes.
Right.
They, in the end, you know what it came down to? Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson. He got them down the field, got them to score. He's better than Ryan Tannehill. Let's be honest. He
does what he does, and no matter how much film you have on him, he keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it. So we're gonna go to break. We'll go Simple Jack, and we'll go around the NFL right after this. And welcome back to the couch. It is NFL Sunday. Week 1 is in the books.
Week 1 in the books. First show since.
My fantasy team. My fantasy, my corporation of fantasy teams. 3-1. So I had a good start.
We'll talk a little fantasy probably in the last segment.
But right now it is time for your sister's favorite segment.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Goodbye, Mama. Now you can have ice cream in heaven. I'll see you tonight when I go to bed in my head movies. But this head movie makes my eyes rain.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Simple Jack is brought to you by Now Trending on 247miami.tv, a station, a show on our station. Get the most up-to-date news, sports, and entertainment info with Now Trending live broadcast every Monday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and rebroadcast throughout the week right here on 247miami.tv. And now Coleman with Simple Jack.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Your sister's favorite segment now. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Hitting up all the ladies in your family.
This week's Simple Jack is brought to you by the Associated Press and WCTV.tv from, do you guys want to take a guess?
DeLand.
Alachua County.
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, we got a big city in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, big city.
In Tampa, Florida, a 23-year-old man was shot and killed this weekend by his cousin under what we would say, since we are on a visual medium, curious circumstances. And he was wearing a bulletproof vest while hanging out with his cousin at his house late Saturday night, probably drinking.
Most of these stories come from inebriation.
And wearing what he thought was a bulletproof vest, said to have wondered aloud whether it still worked. Let's see. And shot him in the chest. The bullet penetrated the vest because it was not a bulletproof vest, but merely a flak jacket.
Like what you wear when you play football to protect your ribs.
No, it's from more of like smaller explosions. It's like a frag jacket. It's not meant for bullets. Right.
Yeah.
It's meant for things exploding near you.
Did this guy die?
So the 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
Oof.
His cousin has been charged with manslaughter and a felon in possession of a firearm.
Is that our first death on the show?
Is that the first death on Simple Jack?
I think it is.
It might be.
That's horrible.
A little bit more morbid of a Simple Jack than you're used to.
But him saying that I wonder if it still worked.
Yeah, that makes it sound old.
Implies that I guess he's tried that before, and then the dude just took out a gun and let's see.
Let's
bam!
Yeah.
That's like the guy who is showing off his like
it's like one of those.
There's a gun where if you put pressure to someone's head, the trigger won't pull. And he was he was showing it off at his house, and he didn't apply enough pressure, I guess, because it's supposed to prevent suicides.
Right.
And so but he killed himself.
Oh.
It definitely sounds like one of those drug-free commercials. Like, don't do this when you're on drugs.
Very charming, regardless.
So I know because one of my boys just texted me.
Okay.
He was up watching this Niners. The Niners, who they play? The Rams. Yeah.
LA.
Oh, so awful.
Los Angeles.
But fantasy junkies are up at 1:15 in the morning.
Yeah, I tweeted out, why am I watching this?
Torrey Smith. Shout out Ricky Pie. But
I had him in DFS.
But this happened last night. This
was probably the best thing that happened last night.
The best thing that happened on Football Sunday is Kevin Harlan of Fox.
Yes.
This is a play-by-play of a streaker.
3rd and 4, looks into the nickel of San Francisco in the secondary. Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Here comes the blue coat.
Oh, they got him.
Here
They're
comes
coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
They tackle him.
Oh, that was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
And the fact that he said it was the most exciting thing to happen that night.
Oh, that is. He's drunk. He's bare-chested.
He's painting his chest. That was great, man. That was great. I didn't get to see it though. I wasn't up.
I saw.
I watched.
You know what is stupid? The TV networks have this policy. Oh, we're not going to put streakers on TV because
So they turn the cameras.
The whole time they're just like focused on Chip Kelly, and it's like
there's somebody running on the field.
It's like, come on, we want to see this.
Like right when it started, like he ran by and they just never moved the cameras. Like it was just,
Yeah, and one time you saw him like streak by, but it's stupid. Like, come on. People are gonna streak whether you put them on TV or not.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're not gonna put them on TV because it promotes the streaking. Like, no, we at home, we want to see this. We want to see this guy get tackled by 4 security guards.
And I mean, we're gonna see it on YouTube eventually, anyway.
Oh, for sure. There's 50,000 people in the stadium.
Right.
Which that guy, I don't know. The Rams could use him somewhere. I mean, they couldn't.
The way he was
was fast, and the Rams could use him somewhere because Did they punt 30? Was it 35 times that they punted?
I mean,
think it was like 47 times that they punted last night.
It was one of the worst offensive performances that I've seen in the NFL, and I say that with full confidence. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh my God!
And that's also, there's a little bit of fantasy bias in there, which we'll talk about later. But it's like I don't understand what Jeff Fisher is doing, and I know that he's not the one who is the offensive coordinator, so he's not the one who's calling the plays all the time, but he's the head coach. He has to say over who it is, what it is that is happening on the field.
What's going on.
And it's just bubble screen, Tavon Austin at the line of scrimmage, Tavon Austin on the right hand on the line of scrimmage, Tavon Austin.
Gurley into the guard's ass.
Right. Gurley, 3 yards in a cloud of dust over and over and over again. And then
green pass.
And then, this is working out so well. Let's line up Gurley as a wide receiver and then not throw him the ball. Like, what am I watching?
He didn't do any of that. He didn't do much of that last year.
And Case Keenum
was horrid.
He can't throw the ball to the sideline. They kept trying to throw the ball. He kept trying to throw the ball to the sideline with these little out routes, and they're falling like on the hash, 5 yards short. And my question is Jared Goff much worse than this? Like, why isn't Jared Goff out there?
Right. Their first rounder.
He cannot be much worse than this.
He wasn't even dressed.
He wasn't even dressed up. He didn't even have pads on.
Yo, LA. Congrats on your new team.
Right. Haven't won since '94.
Yeah, have fun selling out that stadium for that.
They don't even have a home stadium.
No, I know in the future, but there's
I know
they're already selling season tickets.
I guess they're they're hoping Jared Goff.
Well, get him in there.
Yeah.
But
what's the kid gonna do?
But then again, one of the storylines, and that has been the last couple of years in the NFL, is rushing a lot of these players in.
Yeah,
we saw it, and I don't mean to kind of switch gears here, but we saw it with Carson Wentz. And going back to the LA thing, I think they're trying to take the approach where they kind of wanted him to see an NFL football game, what Monday night looked like, get that feel, because that's a pretty big stage for a kid who's never played a football game in his life. It's different than Sunday at 1:00.
I can agree with that, but I also I think, and you got a little glimpse. I don't know how much of it you guys have watched. The Hard Knocks.
Okay.
The Rams.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
But it's like Jeff Fisher is he the longest coaching coach in the NFL currently? Maybe not. But so he had a long stint with the Titans, and now he's Wade Phillips probably. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Belichick is up there too,
coaching for 60 years.
Right.
No, but you're talking about. I mean, Jeff Fisher has been the head coach of an NFL football team for 21 years.
Right.
He's made the playoffs like 3 times. He's had like 4 above 500 seasons. I mean, the guy is still riding a Super Bowl appearance from 1999.
It has to be what it is, or like I just don't. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I mean, what he did was he was smart. He went and got himself involved with like the rules committee. So now he's like on the board or something. So it's like, can't touch him or whatever. But yeah, the guy is. I mean, he doesn't win football games, and I don't see. The Rams aren't anywhere. They're not like on the verge.
No,
absolutely not. Now, that was the second game of a doubleheader on Monday night, and I'd say I watched all of the first game.
Yeah.
Right, which was way more entertaining. Obviously, there was a lot more offense involved in that game, which is always fun for the fans.
You had actual quarterbacks.
Right. You did have actual quarterbacks playing the game. One of the best. I mean, it's hard to kind of argue against Ben Roethlisberger the way he was looking out there with Antonio Brown. And honestly, let me ask you guys, what was the Washington defense doing? What were they thinking? I mean, you don't want a little bit more Josh Norman on...
That's just not their game plan. Carolina last year, Josh Norman didn't follow receivers. He played the right side. That's what he does. He plays right side cornerback.
It's
or
not,
left side, whatever it is.
It's not completely uncommon. I think he's a left corner.
Yeah.
But it's not totally uncommon. I mean, you see the Seahawks do the same thing with Richard Sherman. He doesn't switch sides.
But they have another monster on the other side.
Well, but that's also it doesn't have necessarily.
And then they have
just
Earl Thomas sitting in the back. I mean,
it's the scheme, and it's also so. What if it's
got old D'Angelo Hall on the other side, but that guy's about to fall apart, looking like Fitzgerald over there?
They switched him to safety and put the guy who was getting picked on was Brashad Breeland. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes,
something like that. But it's What if it has something to do with Josh Norman's comfort level? What if he only likes to play the left side of the field?
He definitely showed after that game that he wanted to be on Antonio Brown a lot more. He said he wasn't going to question the defensive strategy from his coaches, but you know what that meant. You know that he wanted that challenge. And every time he was on Antonio Brown, dude, guys like him, guys that are loud, guys that want to talk, they don't want to back down either. I mean, everybody wanted to see that, man.
I know, but you're just ignoring the big thing of like everything that he's done in his whole entire career and the scheme that the Redskins run.
You pay him $50 million, put that guy on the best receiver in the NFL.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think Antonio Brown smokes Josh Norman also as well,
does.
Because I'll tell you what, I've seen some footage of. Let me preface what I'm about to say with this. I'm not a Josh Norman fan. I think Josh Norman is overrated. He had a good season last year.
You think he's a product of the system that they ran in
last year?
Carolina? Because
I've seen some footage during training camp, and Sean Jackson was making Josh Norman look silly. And whatever. That's my thing. Josh Norman is overrated, so I don't think it would have mattered had Josh Norman been on Antonio Brown more last night, because Antonio Brown is the hands down best receiver in the NFL right now.
And I think we're seeing special things.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, and you saw that they put up a stat because Big Ben's been hurt a little bit in Antonio Brown and Big Ben's last 16 games together, 155 catches, over 2,000 yards. So no one's done 2,000 yards in a 16-game season. He's done over 2,000 in the last 16 with Big Ben. So, yeah, there's some special things going on right there.
I mean, they had zone. They were obviously running a zone coverage.
They tried everything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that guy was just – the way that Ben drops it on a dime to that guy is something out of this world, too.
It's crazy. And it's so exciting to watch an offense like that. From being used to the Dolphins dinking and dunking,
and
yard passes.
They're in the discussion for one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in NFL history. I wouldn't put them past that.
Right. Already,
Young Rice and Peyton Manning and Harrison.
I think what was the graphic that they showed? I think that it was the third receiver that has 500 catches from Big Ben on the same team for the Steelers, and Big Ben is the first quarterback to do that with 3 different people.
To have 500
Hines Ward,
catches.
it was
500 catches with
Hines Ward and Heath Miller.
Hines Ward and Heath Miller, and then Brown.
Yeah, Brown just passed it last night. And also, Antonio Brown last season had 130 catches with missing some, Ben Roethlisberger time.
Yeah.
And then the year before that, I think he had 129. So he's averaging 129 and a half catches a season.
Yeah.
Now,
insanity.
Now, who doesn't get that much credit, which I think they played phenomenal, was that offensive line for Pittsburgh. I mean, barely the big guys. They don't get a lot of credit, but dude, the way they held it down, and I mean, to make those passes, they got to create time for their quarterback, and just like everything kind of comes together, and it's easy to say that Pittsburgh is looking like one of the strongest teams in the league.
And not even just the pass protection, dude. The run protection. D'Angelo Williams had, I know he had 178 total yards. I'm not sure about
143 were on the ground.
Okay, so I mean, dude, that offensive line, he had holes. And now, granted, he looked really good last night in terms of finding the holes and being patient. And he has very good lateral movements to where he shifts holes and then finds the open one. But the offensive line was creating holes.
Yeah, which we'll get to, because we had some fantasy on the line. So next segment, we're going to talk a little fantasy, a little bit more NFL.
Welcome back to the couch. We are broadcasting live on 247miami.tv. Go to 247miami.tv, broadcasting the events of this amazing city to the world. You can also follow 247 on Twitter at 247 Miami. Follow 247 Miami on Instagram and like 247 Miami on Facebook. My compadre here, Dubby, said we are going to get into a little bit more NFL, probably some fantasy. We're not going to get too heavy into it. I don't think anybody wants to hear the breakdown of exactly who we have on our teams.
Yeah.
But we'll get into a little bit, maybe talk about, we have a station-wide league here.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of intermingling between the shows. But first, we're going to get to Dubby Knows It All.
Dubby Dubai knows it all.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I kiss excellence.
Hoo-ha! You know who I am? I don't know how to put this, but...
Stupid. Was it?
That's right. So it is time for Dubai Knows Everything. So we're going to start off. I usually give more than one fact because they're just fun. You guys like playing cards?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. What's your favorite game to play with cards?
Texas Hold'em, probably.
Degenerate gambler.
Or some spades.
I gambled on 3 different platforms.
Or
this
some
weekend.
spades.
I like
some
spades.
Not a jail
I'm
game.
a big spade player.
Well, anyways, so if you guys have never, if you guys have never noticed, right? In a deck of cards, okay, the King of Hearts is the only king
That looks to the left.
without a mustache
Oh.
on a deck of cards.
I think the left thing is a jack.
Oh.
Well, because we're all rocking mustaches except for.
Hey, listen, it's there. It's just lighter.
No, it's not. You always say that. It's not there today.
No, it's not there, man. And you rock the nasty.
Nah, you
like,
shaved it.
you rock the rowdiest mustaches out of the crew. Well, except for Matt's. He looks like a cop with his stash. All right. So another thing that people might not know that I just randomly know is the fact that the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know if you ever. I mean, you've seen. I'm sure you've seen.
I love how you're saying something people might not know that I
You other
randomly
people don't know about.
Well, he's holding a phone. You can clearly see he's reading this off his phone, but no, he just knows this.
I write notes, man.
Oh, yeah.
I write notes. So the Nobel Peace
He
Prize
publishes his notes on the internet and then looks them up.
depicts 3. Now this is weird because it's 3 of us up here. So it's 3 naked dudes with their hands on each other's shoulders.
Yes.
The Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Google that.
Google it.
Google it. All right. So other stuff that happened.
Some injuries.
Some injuries that happened in the NFL, which were kind of big. I mean, we had Sammy Watkins with some discomfort in his foot. Still coming. What did he had? He had plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, he had. I don't know. He had surgery on.
That's fracture on his foot.
Saying
I don't even know.
He didn't make the injury any worse. It's just pain tolerance.
You know what? I'm over Sammy Watkins.
Me
and his
too.
foot.
So
I'm
am
just
I.
over it.
No, I'm over
I think
Sammy
he's
Watkins.
so good. I bought into the Bills so hard.
Especially after last season, and I was like, he's
I'm
finally
over it.
turning it around. But you know what? That's it. I'm over it.
Well,
I'm over
it, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out. Where are you at, Sammy Watkins? I'm over it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on that boat with you. I'm rowing along.
Zach Ertz had a dislocated rib or misplaced rib.
Misplaced rib.
It got lost somewhere.
Yeah, he lost it.
He lost the rib, which I thought he was really important in the whole Carson Wentz, which we'll get to in a little bit, in that whole debut of Carson Wentz. Gronk's still out. Okay, Gronk. Actually, today I heard that Gronk might be out for the next 2 games.
You know what? He was my first pick in my main fantasy league, but I'll take him being out this week against the Dolphins. I'll eat that one.
You'll eat that one, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big loss. Obviously, one of the bigger ones, Keenan Allen, out for the season, ACL, torn, ruptured.
Yeah.
Everybody expected a lot of him, a lot of fantasy implications with him.
Yeah, that's
But
brutal.
probably the biggest news, right, coming out of the weekend was Robert Griffin III and those Cleveland Browns and what happened with him. He left the game with a fracture on his shoulder.
Oh, those Cleveland Browns.
But the way that he got, I just didn't get it, man. I didn't understand it. I mean, he went for a run, right? He ran on the right side, going towards the out of bounds. I'm sure you guys saw it.
I didn't see it because it was not on the road whatsoever when he was the ball.
And he went down. He lowered his shoulder against a DB, and
He didn't lower his shoulder. He just ran into a wall.
What could have been? He could have just ran out of bounds, man. What's it been with RG3's
That's where he got
career?
hit. Was on the sideline. He was trying to get out of bounds. He
needed to run out of bounds.
We thought. See, everyone wanted RG3 to change.
Nobody ran out of bounds this weekend.
Like, oh, dude, RG3, you need to learn how to protect yourself. Yeah, he was trying to do that yesterday or Sunday. He's just not very good at it.
Right.
It has to come down to that because it's been his career thing, just not sliding when he needs to slide.
Right. But so the thing is, so with RG3, it's everybody, all of the hype is around his last season at Baylor and his first season with the Redskins, which nobody had tape on the NFL.
He won a dang Heisman.
I know. And so, but a lot of players win the Heisman.
So did Tim Tebow.
Right. And they don't make it in the NFL. I mean, Eric Crouch.
Troy Smith.
You're talking about a 130 batter. A 130 batter, okay?
Maybe he just doesn't translate to the NFL anymore, which I think after the Cleveland Browns, where do you go from here now?
Look, with him and Tony Romo, I don't think it's a talent thing. I think they have the talent to be in the league. We've seen Robert Griffin toss the rock, and it's just I don't know. Maybe it's bad luck mixed in with I don't know what.
There's such a thing as being injury prone. I mean, I think that.
Guy's made out of glass, man.
Right. And it seems like Tony Romo in his age is the same thing. You know what I mean? He can't take contact anymore.
But Robert Griffin isn't as old as Tony Romo.
Not, but it's ever since that knee injury, it's just, he cannot stay healthy. Who knows if he was really ever healthy last year with the Redskins because they weren't ever going to play him.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, I kind of bought into what that whole thing was going to bring, the whole Cleveland Browns thing. I drafted
RG3 in one league. I was like, let me grab him just in case he actually does show out again. Hopefully then I have him on my roster.
12th round or something.
But so let's
Big John McCown comes back.
Let's quickly recap the old Browns. So they acquire RG3 because naturally RG3, Washington kicks him to the curb. He's on his hands and knees, and naturally he ends up in Cleveland. They were like, "Oh, all right, we're back." At number 2 pick, Philly, they take Carson Wentz. Opening day, RG3 versus Wentz.
Wentz balls out.
Wentz gets the W. RG3 gets the IR, and. And here we are, Cleveland thought they were, trade the second pick. We got our RG3. Little do they know, here they are taking 3 steps backwards again.
All right, now let's give everyone a fun fact about the Cleveland Browns and their number 1 picks. They do not have a first rounder on their roster from 2011 on. None of them, and we'll name them. We'll name Brady Quinn. We'll name Johnny Manziel.
Joe Hayden's not from 2011 on?
I don't think he was a first-round pick.
Joe Hayden's a first-round pick. He must have been 2010 or 2009.
He was 2012. He won a national championship in 2011 with Florida, no? You're the fan.
No, we didn't. No, our last championship was 2008.
Well, I don't like the Gators anyways. So,
what are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, what? And he got drafted the year since 2000. Whatever, man. Don't mess up my stat, man.
Yeah, it's a great stat.
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
It's a really good stat.
And 3 of them were quarterbacks. It was
Whedon.
It was Brandon Whedon, Brady Quinn, Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel, and Trent Richardson.
Justin Blackman.
No, he went to the Jags.
Oh, he went to the Jags.
Yeah, man.
No, who am I thinking of?
Justin Gilbert.
Justin Gilbert. Yeah, he hasn't been playing.
And Trent Richardson, who's 3
top first round picks.
Yeah,
3 top 10s.
3 of those guys
Whedon was 20. Whedon was, I don't know.
And they're not even in the league. The only one that's in the league there is Whedon.
The point is, never trust the Browns.
No, I mean, you go there to die.
The point is,
never buy into it.
God, I'm not a Browns fan.
Right.
You go there to die.
God.
The next quarterback's going to be Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Jeez.
And that's what my question was. So now, if the Cleveland thing doesn't work out for RG3, they're saying
it's the beginning of the end.
They put him on the injured reserve. The beginning of the end already started happening a long time ago in that Seattle game.
It's brutal.
But so on Cleveland, where can he go if he does get healthy again, where he'll have another shot like he would with Cleveland, which is obviously a bottom of the
New England.
One of the first things that Hugh Jackson made sure he came out and said was the fact that they don't regret trading the second pick to Philly,
of course,
and that they are not going to be trading for a quarterback. But then again, that's why they got big old Josh McCown out there tossing a rock.
Josh McCown, baby.
Guy's got a rocket.
I mean, what is Hugh Jackson going to say? Yeah, the GM and the owner are idiots for giving me RG3. Let's see if we can go sign Tom Brady away from the Patriots.
No, well, I mean, nothing like that. But look, Mike Zimmer didn't really say that. Oh, we're not going to trade for a quarterback. He didn't say that either. And they ended up trading for Sam Bradford, which kind of brings me to the point. When are we going to see that guy on the field, huh? Because Sean Hill didn't strike fear into anyone.
No.
The defense was a different story. Now, that was kind of a surprise game, too. And I'll bring up that game because I think that we expected that they were effective. One of them was effective, at least fantasy-wise, DeMarco Murray. Shout out. But I think we were expecting that tandem of Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray to be a little bit more powerful. I'd say
not against the Vikings. I didn't think
but
so.
But that Vikings defense showed out.
Yep.
They really did show out. They put up that wall. Now DeMarco made a lot of his stuff in the air. I mean, he caught a lot of passes.
Right. And I think
and literally threw the air into the end zone.
I think the most of Derrick Henry's contribution was also through the air as well.
Yeah, so I mean, they really, and Marcus Mariota didn't look good.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Marcus Mariota, when's he gonna like kind of step up and figure it out? And
is this his second year?
Counter?
This is his second year.
Yeah. Now his
counterpart, number one, Jameis Winston is looking really good and looking like
real comfortable.
He looks like he's got the NFL figured out for sure, which is kind of his problem. His problem has always been that like.
Man, we ain't puppies, we dogs.
Yeah, his. I think Jameis Winston's problem is that he's too comfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
So like at FSU, he's
a natural.
He was too comfortable. So when you're too comfortable, that's when you get lax and you get in trouble and you kind of do things you're not supposed to.
Behavioral wise.
So that's what Jameis Winston. Hopefully, someone can keep him humble because a lot of early success could ruin Jameis. Because personally, I do think he has a strong mind, but. Not quite sure yet. We'll see.
He's still got climbing to do. He's still got climbing to do.
That's what I'm saying. He's still young, which why a lot of early success. If people start telling Jameis Winston like, "Wow, dude, you're really really good," maybe.
But you've seen it even at a collegiate level with Jameis Winston. The fact that he looks like this game, like it comes to him naturally. It really does. Look, and I'm going to tell you something, man. Hardcore Miami fan. I was rooting against him every time we play FSU. But the way his confidence, and it's a confidence thing, he kind of makes his teammates feel good. He makes people feel good, and like the game comes slow to him, and he really made it look that way. So that was a lot of fun to watch. Another new thing on Sunday, man, was that Sunday Night Football song. Carrie Underwood completely took me by surprise. I was excited to see her when I heard her say, "Oh, Sunday night." I was excited, but I thought I was gonna get to hear the same song that I got used to.
Well, can we get some more of that?
No, not from me. You're the karaoke.
Okay, we'll be right back. Huh?
All right, so we're back on the couch. Thanks for sticking with us. And now we have a little segment we'd like to call In Other News.
In other news. That's right. In other news. A baby gorilla has been given the name Harambe Harambe Face by a Chinese zoo after an online public vote. The Jinhua Zoo, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that,
Jinhua,
said that it would honor the vote as 93% of online votes were for Harambe Harambe Face. But the problem is that it's impossible to translate into Chinese. So he will be known as Harambe McHarambe Face, aka Hygiene.
Hygiene.
Now we're gonna see shit. Well, no, I mean he's not dead. He's a reincarnation of Harambe.
Yes.
R.I.P. Harambe.
It's
Dax out for Harambe.
Harambe.
I was trying to figure out a way to say that without, saying different words.
Right.
So now to wrap up, obviously, last segment of the show, it was a long weekend for us, being that it was the first weekend in football, as we all know. So we all got to a lot of football in, right? I want to know, guys, I want to get what game you guys liked or watched the most, maybe, and what surprised you most from this weekend's action, week 1. Matt, first.
Whoa.
Woo!
Was not ready for this.
I'll take it.
Please
you want to mull it over? Okay.
Please
so
do.
this
Get
is
ready,
actually,
Matt.
we're going to go back a little bit further than the weekend because we did have an opening night game on Thursday.
Definitely.
It was a rematch of the last Super Bowl. The
Was it a
Denver
rematch?
Broncos.
That was a different Denver team we saw. Same result.
The Denver Broncos hosted the Carolina Panthers.
They did.
And I was interested to see the game. I was okay with the outcome of it. It's one game. I don't expect my favorite team, which I'm wearing a Carolina Panthers hat.
Yes.
It's my favorite NFC team. I'm still a Dolphin fan, unfortunately. But my question and my main takeaway from the game was, what were the refs watching while Cam Newton was being speared in the head in his helmet?
Okay, so this is something that I
would love to hear you battle me on this because it's never legal to touch a quarterback's helmet in the NFL.
It's never legal to touch Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees.
Oh,
Just kidding. No, but on the real, there were a couple calls. There were a couple flags that needed to be thrown.
There was 3 that they missed where his head was speared. One, especially the most egregious one. No, not the Von Miller one.
26.
No, not even that one because they did throw a flag, but it just got canceled out because there was whatever illegal something on the defense.
Right.
The one where Brandon Marshall not only jumped and left his feet, but speared him with the crown of his helmet into Cam Newton's face mask as he was dumping the ball off. Listen, if
they went helmet first. They weren't lowering a shoulder and caught a helmet by accident. You're right. I see where you're coming from.
They were targeting him in the head, and you've seen this before, somebody is coming over the top, and they just so happen to graze Tom Brady's elegant, little helmet. Flag, and he turns around and he looks, and we saw on Sunday night Jimmy Garoppolo. He got somebody touched some helmet flag.
Okay, so what people the obvious is the fact that, and his teammates came out to support him. Cam, that is, he's the biggest guy on the field. Okay, he's the biggest guy on the field. That doesn't change him from being a quarterback.
Correct.
Okay, that I will give, but he can. Him getting hit might not look as violent as other people getting hit. Now, granted, we're talking helmet to helmet, so that's inexcusable. You touch that helmet and you're a quarterback, I give it to you.
That's supposed to be the
flags.
letter of the law.
That's supposed to be the letter of the law. Now, here's the thing with Cam Newton and some of those shots that he took, because he took way more shots than just 3. He got hit 17 times.
I just meant that there were 3 that were egregiously not called, and that's even letting the one go where I believe it was Spencer Ware's. Was it Spencer Ware?
Spencer Ware plays for the Chiefs.
DeMarcus Ware?
DeMarcus Ware.
Does he still play there?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was somebody.
Get your sports takes here on the couch.
Yes, where we know all. He also, he grazed Cam Newton's helmet a little bit with his arm, which is also not allowed. But I let that one go. I was like, no.
There was one that was violent where he was going towards, he was going out of bounds and somebody just launched themselves at him. Right. I think it was Chris Harris.
That's the one that got the flag. That's the one that got the flag thrown.
But then again, Cam Newton, when he steps out of that boundary, Coleman, he makes himself a runner.
I'm not, but the majority of the ones that I'm talking about are not when he was a runner.
Right. So, I don't know about all the hits that he took. I do agree with you on those 3, and flag should have been thrown because, granted, again, he is, but him getting hit, Andrew Luck getting hit, it's just not the same as little Drew Brees, who has to look up like this at, to throw the ball because he can't get it over his offensive line.
But their heads both have brains in them.
Correct.
Which get rattled when another human being runs full speed into it with his helmet.
Just as easily.
That one where he kind of rolled out and he got hit by the DB. I'm not sure if he remembers that hit, dude.
Oh, he said that he didn't remember the end of the game.
He said that he didn't remember the questions that they were asking.
Right.
Hey, but I was listening.
He kind of went limp for.
I was listening to him post game.
He did it so good.
He sounded really good.
He sounded
really professional. He went about it the right way.
I loved it. Of course, Manny loves it.
He went out. He went out of his way to say like,
they were just doing their jobs.
Gene Statutory, like I love that crew.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was very classy.
My takeaway from this weekend is watch out for the Raiders, baby.
Yeah,
the Raiders came back. They were in a shootout with the Saints, which I expected. And here's my main thing. Here's my thing. Forget the comeback. Yes, David Carr and Cooper.
You're gonna bring up Jack Del Rio.
Crabtree is resurging his career. Here's what I love about They got a touchdown early from Latavius Murray. Then they get a touchdown from Jameez Alawale. Then they get a 75-yard touchdown run from Jalen Richard. Then they get a 10-yard touchdown pass from Seth Roberts. This team is getting contributions from like different guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what I take from that is coaching. When the coaching staff is doing a good job, you have guys like Jalen Richard be ready to play. You have guys like Jameez Alawale ready to play.
Sure.
The fact that it doesn't have to be Latavius Murray or Amari Cooper to get it done, that's just that looks like a well-rounded team right now. But you mentioned it. Jack Del Rio's got those kahunas.
Yeah, man. He's the one that made the call, man. Let's go win it right now.
But listen, it was a good call. I don't think the odds were against him crazy because
51% to 44%.
Right. Here's the thing.
According to
if
ESPN
you're tied,
stats.
if you're down 6 and you score to tie it, you kick the 33-yard extra point for the one. When you're down 1, you can miss that 33. We've seen guys.
Oh, we've seen it a lot.
We've seen, since they've moved the field, the PAT back, It's not 99.9% chance anymore. Right. So guys are missing that sometimes. I'm saying you're down 1. Shoot, you got Sebastian Janikowski, but granted,
he's not going to come short.
But yeah, you almost have as good of, if not better, chance to get to rush for 2 yards than to kick a 33-yard field goal.
And they ended up throwing it.
So when you're rush throw, right, but to get 2 yards. So when you're tied, yes, you kick the one to take the lead. If you're down 1, you don't necessarily trust that 33-yard field goal versus a 2-yard play. So I like the call. I think we're going to see a lot of people do that more if they're down 1 to go for that rather than kick the 33-yarder.
It also it's a little bit situational too, though, and I think Jack Del Rio actually spoke to it. Do you really? So they were sort of, if they would have kicked it and they would have done it, then it would have been tied, and you're going to overtime against Drew Brees, hoping that you get a coin flip right, hoping that they don't get the ball and drive down the field on you. So he was kind of like, you know what, bleep it, let's win it now
on the road,
which you don't see a lot of.
Yeah,
you'd hardly ever see coaches do that kind of thing.
Yeah, the game that took me by surprise was definitely that Sunday night game, Arizona versus New England. I don't think anyone expected that. Everybody really kind of, with all the hype around and surrounding Arizona, especially, potential Super Bowl team. They got the best chances to make it there and all that good stuff.
And Jimmy G.
And Jimmy G came out there. Now, Tom Brady might not be the best looking quarterback on the Patriots squad anymore. But, without Gronk, okay, and, in a hostile environment, because you're playing in Arizona, and Arizona's red country, right, is what they call it. And
that's a Super Bowl contender.
And it's just what we saw. Now, granted, it was a bad snap. It should have never kind of come down to that, though. To one snap, one kick. I saw a lot of missed kickers that, they didn't lose. I hate to say that one play loses
the game, right?
But, if they would have made it, they would have won. We saw it with Carolina. We saw it with Arizona. And, it was tough to watch because I'm high on Arizona.
Yeah, me too. I was a very surprising outcome. We as Dolphins fans needed, we need to take Patriots losses where we can get them.
Absolutely.
We thought that was supposed to be one.
Keep the division tied at 0-1.
We thought that was supposed to be a loss, and then it wasn't, so that sucks. But great first week.
Now they have 3 games, and then they get Tom Brady back. 3 home games.
Right. That's okay.
And hopefully we steal one from them this weekend.
Yeah. This has been The Couch on 247miami.tv. Also, tonight we were live on youtube.com/247miami. Coleman Dubby. See you next week.
I'll see you.